meaning and objectives of research, or meaning and objective of research methodology. So this is the basic, I should say, the basic lesson that we should learn before knowing what is research methodology. So what exactly is research methodology? Before we go into the details of research methodology, we need to learn what exactly the meaning of this word is, research methodology. So if you see the word research, so here you can see that this word research, this consists of two words. Here is this re and search. So re and search, these two words becomes research. So, and then, so what does re mean? In English, re means again and again. If we want to say redo, that means doing it again and again. So the word English, it means again and again. And we all know what is the meaning of search when we try to find out something. That is called search. So, and the following is the process of this research. So what is this? So what is this search when you try to find out something? We are not trying to find out something which is something what is not there. Supposing if in this thing, a police station, if the police, they want to search some criminals, we are not trying to find out any criminals or anything. What we are trying to find out, what is this something that we are trying to search? This something is knowledge. We are trying to find out knowledge. And in that process, we are trying to do that again and again. We are repeating the process again and again till we find out what we have sought, what we want to seek out, and that is we want to seek out knowledge. So in research, what we do, we try to seek out knowledge, and while doing that, we do that again and again. What we do again and again? See this over here. So this is the person who wants to do the research, and he observes again and again. In research, it is very much important that we observe certain things. Without observing, we cannot do research. So it is very much important that we observe a certain phenomena again and again. So in whatever way we can observe it. So again and again it is observed. So this is a phenomena. Apart from observation, if we just observe, just sit and observe nothing, with that observe, we also have to collect some data of that phenomena, what we are observing, of that particular object, whatever we are observing. So we need to collect data. Apart from observing, we also need to collect data. And this data needs to be analyzed. And when we observe again and again, when we collect data of that object, when we analyze the data, then we come to some conclusion. And this conclusion is our research. Now I will give you some examples of this thing. Now, but before that, let us see the third one. So the research is a process. Whatever I told you just now, it is a process. See, this is a process in which a person, he observes the phenomena again and again and does what? Collects the data. And then on the basis of the data, because he analyzes the data, on the basis of the data, he draws some conclusion. So, like for example, I will give you an example. So this will become more easy. I will give you two examples. One of the example is from social science. So in social science, there is a well-known doctor, Dr. Goodall. So she is a psychologist. So she wanted to study, she wanted to observe the chimpanzee behavior. So what she did is that she spent years after year by observing the chimpanzees and in their various types of environment, in the natural environment. And as many of you might be aware that chimpanzees are available in East Africa. So she examined, while she was observing, she examined various things. That means while she was examining the things, she was doing what? She was trying to collect the data. Collect the data on what? Like the various, she examined details about the social structure, about their gender roles, about the family structure, about their mating patterns, about how they are caring about their offsprings. So she was trying to do all these things, collect the data. Based on this collection of the data, ultimately comes the conclusion. So she could conclude about the behavior of the chimpanzees. Now I will give you an example from our own subject, that is geography. Now, for example, like if we want to understand about climate change, so what do we do when we want to know about climate change? What do? We first of all, those of us who want to who are interested in climate change, so first what we do is that we observe. What we observe, supposing one of the parameter of climate change, obviously it is rainfall. There are various parameters of climate change, so one of them is rainfall. So first we observe the rainfall data of the past few years, and then on the basis of this, we do what? We collect the data of the rainfall for the past few years. Then we analyze the data. There are various ways in which the data is analyzed. There are various statistical techniques, like for example, linear regression, Mann-Kendall, etc. There are various ways in which the data is analyzed. So based upon that, when the data is analyzed, then we come to a conclusion. Based on that, we know that, okay, whether rainfall has increased, whether rainfall has decreased over the past few couple of years. Based upon that, we can conclude ultimately that yes, climate has changed, or no, climate has not changed, whatever it is. So we do that. For that, what we are doing, we are observing it again and again. Now, so what we know till now is that research is what? Search for knowledge. Now, how the search for knowledge is, and what kind of knowledge? Now, this knowledge should be scientific. It should be systematic and careful search. It is not a random search. It is a scientific search. So, a scientific search is what? A scientific search is an empirical search. What do we mean by empirical or scientific? That is whatever can be proved by various data, etc. Everything can be proved. Now, for example, if I say that once upon a time there lived a king named something. Now, I don't have any proof to prove that yes, that the king once upon a time lived in that area. I can prove that. But if I say that water, simple water, is formed by, if we break that water, we will get H2 and O2. We can prove that. So scientific is something which can be proved. It has got empirical data with that. It has got some set of methodologies. So so simply we can prove it through our own research, then that is called scientific. And the points should be a specific points. There should be careful search through some specific points. We should have a specific topic. We cannot go on through the entire thing. If I say that I want to work on earth science, we cannot do that. Earth science is a huge topic. We have to take one specific thing of the entire thing. Earth science is the entire thing. We must choose a specific topic. Now, many students tell me that I want to work on agricultural geography. Now, what exactly you want to do on agricultural geography? You want to work on a specific topic. Maybe you want to work on a specific kind of a crop cultivation. So you need to take a specific topic. You cannot take the entire thing. For example, again, if I go back to climate change, so when I say climate change, I must be specific regarding the parameters. So what has increased? What has decreased? I must be specific. I can't just say climate change has increased. No. What is the specific parameter that has increased? What is the specific parameter that has decreased? So we must do a careful search of the topics before saying that, okay, this has increased or that has decreased. So like if I say that maybe rainfall has decreased, and if I search out that yes, temperature has increased, so I have to say that this has increased or that has decreased. So I just can't say that climate change has increased or climate change has decreased. And then there are a few more definitions of climate change, as you are seeing over here, based on Advanced Learners Dictionary of Current English. So it's a careful investigation or inquiry through search of new facts, or it is a systematized effort to gain new knowledge, or from Ramner, that research is an endeavor to discover, etc. So these are the various definitions of research. Now, another point is that research is an original contribution to the existing stock of knowledge, making for its advancement. So it is an original contribution. You contribute something. When you are doing research, you are contributing something to the existing knowledge. You are not just copy pasting. Various students, you will see that they will just, when you later on, when you will start doing research, you will see that there are various examples where people just copy paste from some other research. That is not research, that is plagiarism. That is entirely not research. Or like, for example, another example I will give you. Once I had a colleague and he was doing research on the population characteristics between two census years. So what he did is that he just took data from one census year data, and these census data are available in the internet. Anyone can get it. And he took data from the other census year. And then what he did is that he just made some bar graphs, some charts, some pie charts, etc. Where what he did is that the data that he received from the census office, he just converted them to some bar graphs and pie charts, and he made a huge thesis. So that is not a research. That is, you are just the data that is already there, you are just pictorially, you are just representing that. You are not contributing anything to the stock of knowledge. So that is not research. So, and the last one is that when we do research, it is finding solution to a problem. That is research. Why, or else what is the requirement of research? Research's requirement is not just to get a PhD degree or an MPhil degree. It is that we want to search, there is a lot of problem, there is some problem, and we want to find out the solution to that problem. That is why we do research. Again, I will give you an example. For example, like we find that in various parts of the country, we find that the flooding has increased in recent times. So that is a problem, and we need to find the solution to that problem. So how we can find solution? That is, we have to do research, how this flooding problem can be solved. And it is a systematic plan for conducting a research. So when we do research, we need to chalk out what needs to be done first. We don't do a research haphazardly. We systematically plan out, chalk out our methodology, what needs to be done after what. So again, like what will be my first step, what will be my next step, etc. Again, like I had given you the example of rainfall. So first I will have to get the rainfall data. Then I will have to analyze the data. Then I'll need to do some statistical analysis to understand the trend, etc. So you see, there is a systematic work plan when I do research. Now research, it simply seeks the answer of certain questions which have not been answered so far, and the answers depend upon human efforts. So it depends upon you that to what extent you can go and find out the answer. Maybe some of the researchers, they will leave it halfway. But there are many researchers who will try various formulas or who can go to various depths and try to find out the answers. So the more depth you go to, the more effort you use, you will get more satisfactory answer when you try to do research. So we can say that research answers only those questions of which the answers are not available in literature, that is in human knowledge. When we don't have those answers, then we do what? Then we try to find out the knowledge of those. And it is an academic activity and part of technical knowledge. Now, not everyone can do research. It is not possible for everyone to do research. So it is an academic activity. So you need to have some prior knowledge to whatever you are trying to do, whatever you are trying to search. You can't go on a blind search spree that, okay, I want to do research. No, You have to have some basic ground knowledge before that. You also need to have some various technical knowledge. Like for example, in geography, we use GIS, SPSS knowledge, various formulas, etc. So these technical knowledge should be possessed. So supposing we are all from geography background over here. Now suddenly we decide that, okay, we want to do research in physics. So that is not possible because we do not have the technical expertise of physics. And same goes for the people of physics. They can't do their research in geography. They should have the technical expertise of geography. Now there are some general characteristics of research. So what are the general characteristics of research? It gathers new knowledge or data from primary or first-hand sources. So we generally don't use secondary sources altogether. Obviously, we use secondary sources in research, but we do not use only secondary sources. We also use primary sources. In fact, we use mainly primary sources for research. And that primary data is then processed according to our requirements for secondary use. How we want to do that, that depends upon us. It places emphasis upon the discovery of general principles. Now here I will again give you another example. Now, since we are from a science background, we know that in a river, in the course of a river, we know that sedimentation process, it is carried on in the lower stage of river. So all of us knows that sedimentation or deposition occurs in the lower stage of river. That is the general principle. Now, how will we emphasize upon the discovery of the general principles? Now, for that, what we do is that, so based on this, we can discover that what environmental effects is this principle having on a particular river basin. So maybe it is that basin is facing extensive flooding or loss of agricultural field, etc. Then these are the various other characteristics of research. So you can just go through the various other characteristics of research. See the sixth point, that is, the researcher eliminates personal feelings and preferences. Now I would like to discuss about this. Now research is not bothered with what you feel or what you believe. It's what the outcome comes through data and analysis of the same. Now, for example, in social science, there are various researches on crime in the society, of increase in crime in the society. So, for example, I may belong to a maybe X society, some society, and I believe that my society or my community is the perfect community. But I should not, but this thought of mine should not come in the way of my research. What I think of my community, and if in the course of research I find that no, it is not so, then that should not come in the way of my research. Whatever data says, whatever observation says, I must give conclusion according to that. So you can see the other general characteristics of research. Now there are certain specific characteristics of research. So there are other specific characteristics of research. So these are the various other specific characteristics of research. So you can just go through them. So research, again, like over here, it requires an interdisciplinary approach. So most of the research that we do now, they are all interdisciplinary. Like for example, geography blending with geology, or geography blending with environmental science. So most of the research that we do now, it is just not a single subject specific. It is interdisciplinary in nature. There are certain functions of research. So what are the various functions of research? The function of research is to aid in making a decision concerning the refinement or extension of knowledge in this particular area. So just like I was saying you till now, that we are extending the knowledge. We are trying to go deep inside a particular area to find out more about that area. And another function of research is to help the social studies administrators to improve the social studies system. Now regarding that, for example, we know that landslides occur in areas with slopes and when it rains. Generally, we in Mizoram, we are seeing that landslides It is occurring whenever there is more rains or whenever it is the regions where it is more sloping. But then through research, we can come up with some landslide susceptible zones, and we can come up with some landslide susceptible maps. So that will help us what? That will help us in the decision making. So that will help the administrators in decision making. So the function of research is to help the social studies administrators or the policy makers to come up with various decision making abilities. There are certain objectives of research. So there are basically three objectives of research: theoretical, factual, and application objective. So first let us see what is what. So the first one being theoretical objective. So that is what? It is formulate the new theories, principles, or laws. So we see that objectives are theoretical. Then such type of research is explanatory. Now, when you formulate a new theory, you need to explain that. That is why such type of research was explanatory. You need to explain that since you are contributing something new. So you have to explain that. You are contributing something new to the existing knowledge and people does not have an idea about it. For example, in social science, we do surveys, documentation, statistical analysis, etc. So if we want to find out, like again, I'm giving an example, like if we want to find out, like for example, how many people speak Mizo in Aizawl as the second language. So what do? We will have to conduct survey and sampling for that. So then we can explain about that. So these researchers contribute some basic knowledge to the human knowledge, and the researchers in different disciplines, that is physics, chemistry, mathematics, etc., they have the theoretical objective. Now the factual objective. This is what? Fact finding. So those researchers whose objective is factual, find out new facts. So these are descriptive in nature, these are explanatory in nature, and this is what? Nature descriptive. And they try to describe facts or event which have happened previously. So when we say previously, that means this research is done in history. This type of research is done in history. This is done in these types of these subjects. This is time in history, because fact finding, whether or not Aurangzeb existed, okay, whether he existed, whether he was a tyrannical ruler or not. So these are fact finding. We are trying to find out facts. So that is factual objective. Application objective. So the research having application objective, it does not contribute a new knowledge, but suggests new applications. Like again, an example of applied, how we are using our research knowledge for human applications. I will give you an example. Like for example, applied research, it is for developmental process, and it is applied in nature to seek to solve a practical problem. So how do we seek to solve a practical problem? Like we want to find out ways to stop flooding in a certain area. I had told you about flooding, where it occurs, where flooding is more occurring. So we want to find out solution to that. Now, how do we do that? To do that, we do applied research. We are applying our knowledge of research to stop flooding in a certain area. So that is application research. So these are the some other objectives of research. So to gain familiarity with the phenomena or to achieve new insights into it. It is called formulative, or to portray accurately the characteristic of a particular individual. That is descriptive. Determine the frequency with which something occurs. That is diagnostic research. Or to test a certain hypothesis. That is hypothesis-based research. So this is in short about research, the various meaning and objective of research.